three key things that you need to take into consideration when it comes to learning. Your attitude towards what you are learning matters. Emotions you have towards what you are learning, and your intention. If those three things are not taken into cognizance, you will never learn whatever you think you want to learn. So most times, that is why it is not advisable for someone to force someone to learn something, because when you are forcing someone, the attitude is not in check, the emotion is not right, then the intention is not there. So how do you expect the person to learn? After you've put your attitude, your intention, and your emotions in check, now when it comes to understanding comes with a lot of stress, and most students don't want to go through that stress because, number one, they don't like studying, and when they find themselves studying at the end of the day, the fact that they don't like it, they want to just know it as soon as possible. And now, the major reason why people tend to cram most of the time is because, number one, they have knowledge gap of what they are trying to learn. They don't know the rudiments. This fact that they don't know the rudiments, they might not be able to reflect on what they are reading at the complex level, or they might not be able to fall back to the rudiments because it is not there. So they tend to cram. They fall to the trap of cramming, and they just want to pour it down. If you know you don't have the rudiments of a particular course, that is why it's better for you to study as early as possible, because when you do that, you have the time to discover that, you don't know this thing, and you have more time to explore and source out materials that can help you learn the basics so that you'll be able to catch up. But then if you wait till when your exam is in 2 weeks and you discover that you don't know the rudimentary, then you don't have enough time to catch up. The problem comes in and you tend to cram. So most of the time when it comes to learning, your brain is not like something that your brain is not just a box where you can just drop something inside and you expect it to just work out. It takes time for your brain to be able to grasp stuff. Forget about when people tell you that some people, they are fast learners. They are fast learners in whatever they are trying to learn because they know the basics. So, but if you are lacking, if the basics is lacking, you have to give your brain time to process it, to encode, and to be able to understand what you are reading. So it takes time, it takes a process. The brain, we have 3 parts. We have id brain, we have forebrain, and we have midbrain. Now, the forebrain is where the neurocortex is. This is where synaptic connections are formed. Whenever you learn something, a connection is formed. So when you learn something new, the connection is really fancy, but the more you approach it, the connection gets solidified. That is where they say nerve cells that wire together fire together. So now those connections, we have about billions of connections you made. Every experience you've had in your life and everything you've learned, you have the connection in your brain. But if you don't revisit them, they prune apart, that is, they detach. So in order to solidify connections in your brain, you need to visit things over and over again for those connections to be solidified. Now, for example, when you are learning something, you make connection. But then if you don't have an existing connection that is similar to what you are learning at any point in time, then it becomes difficult because you don't have an existing understanding. So that is why you have to that is when confusion comes in. So if you can look for ways to connect it to what you already know before, then that's when understanding comes in. But if you cannot connect it, then what you are learning at that point, or what you are trying to learn, tends to be stored in the short-term memory, and the short-term memory has limited capacity. the short-term memory has limited capacity. That is when you go to the exam hall, you cram, you put it down. By the time you leave, you forget, or most times you might not even remember because it's at short-term memory. But if you want to lock in something into your long-term memory, there are things you need to take into consideration. I just talked about the forebrain. Now we have the midbrain. In the midbrain, we have the amygdala and the hippocampus. Now, the hippocampus helps in memory consolidation and formation, and that is when the idea of long-term and short-term memory comes in. When you read something, it goes to the hippocampus for the short-term memory. Now, the more you keep going over and over again over a long period of time, it gets transferred to the neurocortex. Now, the amygdala is the emotional part of it. They work hand in hand. So if your amygdala is the amygdala that controls the emotion. So if your amygdala is not control, if your emotion about what you're learning is not right, it will not get into the hippocampus, and as well there are tendencies that it will not get into the neurocortex, and you might not be able to form any connection.